Oh no. Oh. But hello, my name is B. Others call me KJ. I use they them pronouns. And welcome to my YouTube channel. I don't know how to do an introduction. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about my 2026 New Year's resolutions, more specifically for my writing, because this year I have been slacking a lot. So I wrote down all of my writing resolutions in my new planner, which is purple, which has purple stickers. I wonder what my favorite color is. I wrote down my content creator goals for this upcoming year. Now we're actually gonna jump into the content of this video. Thank God, because I've been talking for 3 minutes. I just reviewed the footage of my explanation of my book. It's just me blabbering, guys. So let me clean it up for you. I wrote down a more concise premise and a more organized thought process. So I'm gonna read it to you. Also, don't mind the towel on my head. I just got out the shower. But anyway, so my novel, Reality's Love Letter, is about a girl who is unable to cope with her brother's death, so she spends her time in a fantasy world that she wrote in his notebook. And the more time that she spends in this world where her brother's alive, her family's happy, the more time she loses herself, she disconnects with her own reality and harms her brother's existence. She is sent to a music camp. Through this experience, she learns the lessons of resilience, self love, learning how to connect with others, and how loved ones lived on after death. And what I want this story to portray is how to reconnect with yourself and reconnect with others around you, especially when you're grieving, because it is a difficult process. This story kind of reflects a time in my life where I grieved not only people, but I also grieved memories and experiences that I wish I had that I belittled myself because of, but those experiences that I wished for were way out of my grasp. And sometimes I grieve the person that I used to be and that I wish I was. What I want with this story is hoping that if anybody who went through similar experiences of feeling disconnected with reality and always like spending it in like another mental state, it's a difficult journey of self-love and acceptance. It is not the end of the road for you. This story, I hope, makes people realize who are going through similar things that you're not alone, that eventually time does forgive you. It's really a process, and it takes a lot of patience with yourself, and it takes a lot of patience with the people around you. So, yeah. Besides finishing Expedition 33, that is also one of the main reasons why I wanted to start the story, was because I feel like I didn't have any of this kind of representation or any of this advice during those times. So this is not only a love letter to other people who are going through the same thing, but this is also a love letter to myself. Anyway, continuing on with the video. Okay, so to start off, I actually split up my New Year's resolutions for my like content creation stuff into 5 sections, and they are writing, reading, my Substack, my Instagram, and my YouTube. All of which, besides my YouTube, are going to be linked in the description. So if you want to check those out, you're more than welcome to. For my first section, which is my writing, my first goal for the new year is to finish draft 0 of Reality's Love Letter by mid-April. I do have 2 other deadlines for draft 0. The first deadline for it is actually my soft deadline, which is gonna be March 18th, basically. And it's the same for the other deadline that I set for my draft, which is May 18th. I'm giving myself a month between each deadline because I am also a full-time student and a part-time employee. So I'm gonna be busy. Not only that, I also am running a club. I wanted to give myself some leeway. My second goal for writing is complete draft 0 edits by the end of May to early June. I'm also giving myself like at least a couple months to finish editing because I know I'm gonna need to take a break from my draft just so I can really refresh my mind and come back to it. The point of draft zero is to serve as like my brain dump, because right now my outline is more so focused on like a romance aspect, but I wanted to pivot more to like focus on the self rather than romance. It's not the main focus of the story that I originally wanted it to be. That means that I have to rework my synopsis, which is fine. Moving on, my third goal is to start draft one by early June, right after I complete edits for draft zero, because I need to jump straight into it if I want to get published. But I also know that I'm gonna take another break before starting draft one, so I gave myself another soft deadline. I'm having draft one started by at least August, because I did apply to a study abroad program in South Korea for Yonsei University. Currently, my application is in the process of review, and I'll find out by mid-February whether or not I got in. So I just wanted to give my leeway for that if I get accepted. Anyway, moving on. My last goal for my writing is to finish draft one by the end of September slash first week of October. Because I know this year I've been kind of struggling with getting stuff done in terms of writing. Like my academics is fine. Like I know I have something that is on the line, but sometimes when it comes to my writing, my brain doesn't register it as like important. So it kind of just skips over the fact and I get lazy. But that concludes the first section of my New Year's goals. My second section is reading books. I actually have one goal for this, but it's pretty straightforward. So, I plan to read 12 books this year, meaning that I read one book per month and at least one of them has to be a classic. And I already do have a classic in my TBR. It is The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I started it a while ago, like earlier this year, but I never got back to it because I got so busy. Moving on to the third section, which is my Substack. Okay, so my first goal for my Substack is to brainstorm at least one monthly article. It could be like a personal essay, it could be a topic that I want to talk about, it could be literally anything. The goal for my Substack is to ideally post Thursday of every month at 12 p.m. Additionally, if I wanted, this kind of leads into my next goal, but if I wanted to post any like poetry that I wrote or any like short stories or anything creative like that, then it can be literally like any other day. I'm really trying to be more creative this year and push into being away from my phone because I have the tendency to doom scroll. I wanted these goals to kind of be more open and more like broad, because I know that if I get too specific, then future me is gonna be like, well, what the heck is this? And for my third goal, which is my Instagram, are to keep up with the newsletter graphics. I have this like certain graphic style that I got from Pinterest that I wanted to try for some of my posts, and it takes a lot of time, but I feel like the only thing that I want to spend a lot of time on are the actual content rather than the covers of my posts. Anyway, my second goal for my Instagram is to start promoting my novel via Reels. Now, I got beef with Reels. Don't really like making short form content. Sometimes it works, but there was one time where it was like incredibly short and there wasn't really any creative thought put into it. I was kind of just following a trend and it blew up. Kind of made me realize, okay, maybe I don't want to do short form content. If I want to promote my novel, then I gotta start using Reels. I just have this mindset with Reels. I get so demotivated to make the content. I just don't make it anymore. And that's why I took a break from my Instagram. My third goal for my Instagram is posting at least 2 to 3 times per month or whenever my creativity hits. It'll give me some room in terms of creativity for my other hobbies that I want to do. The minimum is at least twice per month. I don't want to overwork myself and push out content like a content machine and not actually mean the content that I make, you know? Basically take the year to post stuff for myself because it's fun. And that's why I'm doing this, because I want to get out of my comfort zone. Moving on to my last goal for my Instagram is to think about hosting a special milestone contest related to my novel, Reality's Love Letter. I'm probably gonna make that contest later on in the year, maybe when I reach a milestone of finishing like one of my draft edits. because right now my characters are still in like development, like early stages of development, because I have this idea of how they talk and how they interact with each other. It's just I want to dig more deeper into their background to understand why they are the way that they are now in the book. But that concludes the third section. Now we're going to move on to my YouTube, which is what I'm posting this on. So my goal is to post at least once or twice per month, and more specifically on Saturdays at 12. Basically the same time that I post my Substack, but on a Saturday, not a Thursday. Basically what my intentions are for my YouTube channel are posting video essays on any like certain topics that I find interesting that maybe I didn't want to touch up on my Substack, posting short vlogs like day in my lives, writing vlogs, holidays, etc., content like that, and then some other media that I've always wanted to try on YouTube, which is talking about my OC lore. And that doesn't mean like my original characters. I mean like original characters from fandoms that I was in. Meaning we're gonna maybe dive into my Wattpad. So OC lore, maybe talk about like video games. I love my video games. And actually bring back one of my OG contents from my Instagram. If you guys were following me since earlier this year when I started my account, I had this book review series called Truth Be Told, which is a play on my pen name B. Basically, I talk about my book reviews and my honest opinions on them, and I do have some stuff to talk about on the books that I read this year. You're gonna have to find out in the YouTube series. Those basically conclude my 2026 New Year's resolutions. Hopefully, through this channel, I kind of grow my confidence in being in front of a camera and be more comfortable talking freely without a script and really articulating my words without using any filler words. Another thing that I wanted for this channel is I plan to have like a little persona right here. It is basically me with wings, and sometimes I'll have my little persona up if I don't feel like being in front of the camera, but my ultimate goal for the channel is to constantly try to be in front of the camera when I can. But obviously there's days where it's just like I don't feel like having my face and like seeing myself record. So I'll just have my little persona right here. But I think I might keep the persona specifically tailored for my YouTube, because for the reels I don't sorry. I kind of wanted to be more for long form content instead of short form content, because I think it's more comfortable for me and like my workload and everything. Yeah. If you've watched to the end, I just wanted to thank you for your time and for checking my channel out. And if you're interested in following any of my other socials, they will be linked in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.